Hey guys, Igor here, and today we are going to record probably the most important modeling tutorial of them all. Now why I'm saying that is because working with booleans in Houdini is really a great experience, especially if environment set correctly. Even though you don't have to do much to actually set it up on your own. What you basically need is a shortcut for, well, invoking boolean, and pretty much that would be it. Other thing would be understanding how all this works, which I tend to show you today how this works. Now, this is the model I did, so this is all booleans. And what's really important here is the workflow. And another thing is that with this workflow, you should be able to actually understand how everything works in Houdini. Because in Houdini, there are like, well, there are nodes that have 1, 2 or more inputs. I think 2 is the least. But anyway, so once you start invoking these tools, usually you get here some kind of message that tells you what to do next. So with Booleans, basically we are doing 2 steps to, well, execute Booleans. So this is it, what we have. Well, funny thing is, why I named this like this is because when I showed this to my girlfriend, her first impression was, well, look, this looks like a toilet paper holder. So, well, this is now why I'm naming this like that. So let's say this is a futuristic toilet paper holder. So I'm going to try and create something similar. By the way, these pieces were that I was looking to as a motivation or inspiration, let's say. So we're gonna try to repeat the same. So yeah, let's begin. I will hide this. By the way, this is not one piece, so if I go inside, there is obviously few pieces, which is the way to go when working or when modeling in Houdini, because this is how pretty much in all DCCs this works, right? So let me go out, let me hide this, and let's start. Now, I might not model this to be 100% like this, because I have plenty of inspiration here, so I might try doing something else. But all in all, this is what I came with, just going in and booleaning the crap of it. Now there is also, yeah, it really depends like what's your goal, and if it's only let's say blocking of something, then it's really smart thing to do, like using as much as possible the geometry, like the level of detail. Because here now, let's say I wanted to make this workable with subdivisions, so then I would actually go with trying to make this with least polygons as possible, because I will have more control over it. So, but I didn't want to do that. It's too much work and it's not the purpose of this video. So we're going to jump into Booleans. And to do that, let me just go out again, hide this, and I'll just start with a cylinder. Okay, because we are getting something like this. So let's start with a tube, and then we can go inside. Let's rotate. Now, if you want to see outside, let's press spacebar Y, because this is how you solving your geometry container. Okay, now what's important is really to establish the size at the beginning, because working with too small of objects, it's not good, and then too big, again, it's not good. So let's say something like this is just fine. Okay, now let's see. I will do extrude this time for now. Let me remove the, and I will also remove this origin gnome, so you guys don't get affected by it, because it can be annoying. So let's extrude F to enable this transform extruded front, because now I can use gizmo to extrude. And what I want to do here is basically this hole here, okay? So, but before I do that, I actually want to clean, or maybe not, but let's clean all these edges that I will not need, okay? So I have this shape, which is much better. So, okay, so what I can do, I can actually duplicate here. This is another thing that's actually pretty cool that we can do, and you will see pretty quickly what I mean. Let's just make it like this. Okay, that's gonna be it. Now, so this is the important part, okay? So there is two steps that are involved here, okay? And first step is, because booleans have like a point A and point B, or selection A and selection B. So first we are selecting selection A and then Control Alt S. And now you can see here it says now select polygons for set B and press enter to complete. So now we are selecting the B input, and now we can press enter, or just or we can also press right mouse button and then accept selection, or we can press and hold shift and then right mouse button, and then we get this. Now with this technique we are subtracting. So this shortcut that I'm using right now, it will always subtract. We can always go here and change, like we can union, we can shatter, or we can just leave it to subtract. This is what we want, okay? So now let's, and also we can work with one side because we can always symmetrize, okay? So let's do something like this, and then let's go inside, let's repeat, Alt E to extrude, something like that. Maybe we wanna go back and just make sure that this is not that thick. So again, let's get back. Okay, maybe something like that. Cool. Now we can just Alt X and we have now the same thing on a different side. Okay, now let's enable the creating context, which is basically here, which means if this is enabled, now putting any kind of primitive will spawn in this geometry container. Because now I actually want to use, I can do this from the top. So if I position, I want to cut here, just like on the image. So again, polygon mode, select all, or select A input, and then Control Alt S to, let's see. Just a sec. Okay, and boom. Okay, let's see now. Now I can always go back here. Now what I just did is another thing that no one talks about, is actually when we have this kind of situation, okay? Now I already told you that with page up and page down we can go up and down the stream, but we can also jump to the right side or to the second input with shift and page down, and then shift page up to go back. But for this to work, we actually need to be on the not the last node, but the before the last node, okay? So this scenario, okay, one node before the last one, and then from the viewport, shift page down, and now we jump to the other side. And now this other side, because this SOP is selected, we can actually, as you can see, manipulate to this extent that we can actually model on this side, something like this, and create even more complex shape that we will boolean from, okay? So again, we can just Alt X, and now we have this shape. Now let's try to create some kind of hole here, okay? Now the problem here is that, let's say we don't know, like we want to be precise as much as possible. So what can we do to help ourselves so that we don't guess what's happening, okay? So what I can do, I can actually go up to this first node, and because it has end caps, we can actually use it like that. And let's see, what can I do here? Well, one thing I can do, okay, let me do this. So Alt-E to disable creating context so that I can actually do this. And that's, let's see, that's extract node. Okay, that's the extract node. You must make sure that creating context is disabled for this node to work. So now we have this perfect shape that we can actually use. And let's just freeze this. Now we can actually use this just as a reference, okay? We don't have to use this object at all. We can just use it as a reference. So what I can do is just extrude and then Alt-Z to collapse everything, and then go back with Alt page down. So you see I can actually go back and forth between geometry containers with a shortcut, which is dope. And now I can actually, you know what? I can actually select this tube, activate my construction plane and press A. And now this construction plane is, well, basically put in center of my selection. So if I press right mouse button while the construction plane is selected, we can see here I have home on selected geometry or home on geometry, which is a bit different, but this is what we need. Okay, and now, because this grid, for which I also have a shortcut, if this grid is disabled, okay, then invoking anything will actually spawn things in center of that, just rotate in center of that construction plane. If there is this grid, then this grid will have, okay, I had to pause to think about the verb. So this grid will have priority over the construction plane. If that grid is disabled, then the priority have the construction plane, which is very useful. Okay, now we can just do that, and actually then we don't need this object at all. But again, it can be used for a reference, so let's just hide it instead of just deleting it. So then what I can do, I do things a little bit differently here, just, you know, because I can. It's really not important that I 100% mimic what I did, because it's very hard. So I might think about new things, new shapes. So hopefully you guys forgive me. So what I will do here, actually I will shatter, but here is the thing. We don't have to be inside of the geometry container to invoke these, to invoke booleans. We can actually be outside, and that's also the thing with other tools. For example, just quick example, if I, for now I'm outside, like I'm in the object network. So if, for example, if I invoke loop tool, you see what happens? We jump inside the geometry container and we can actually start creating, well, splits, okay? So with this, you don't have to go inside, then select, then invoke, okay? It's just convenient thing that, you know, in the end, you have less clicks. Let's say it like that. So now I will, again, let's take the input A, and then Alt Control S, B, okay, B, and then Enter. And then instead of intersecting, we can actually try, let's go with boolean. No, I'm not gonna use shatter here, subtract, sorry. And maybe to get something like this. But what I can do, we can delete this, this is a bug. What I can do, I can actually select this tube and just make it smaller so that we don't have this thing here, okay? Something like that. Okay, cool. Now I can actually go here and then disable the creating context with Alt-3 and create a new shape. We can reverse the normals, and then we can go to edge mode, select everything, press Shift B, and then Alt F to close, and then either using that or using this to close the shapes. Now we can actually make things smaller like that. So yeah, it's pretty fast. Okay, so what can I do next? Next, maybe I can go here and then select this and that. And maybe again extrude inner and then again Q to repeat the last action. Okay, this is not gonna go, so let's extrude it outside. And then maybe just bevel, something like this. Okay, are we seeing textures? That's weird, probably a visual bug. Nothing new with Houdini and the viewport. So hopefully Vulkan will help with this. So the next thing, maybe what I can do, maybe now I can union some parts here. Let's see. Actually, I know what I wanna gonna do. Okay, so let's go. We can stay in, enable creating context. Let's create a box like this. And I'm going to make, oh, what happened here? Okay, I need my texture. So I'm gonna create this first, okay? Again, it's not going to be 100% what you see there. We can actually use W to see the wireframe only so that we can position this as we see fit. Okay, let's say this is okay. Double click, boolean, A, B, that's it. Now again, we can go back to the box. Whoops. Up. Okay. Maybe something like that. And maybe bring this, oops, not rotate, bring this up here. Yeah, something like that. Cool. Maybe here now, let's select this. Now remember, depending on which SOP you have selected, this is very important. So if we select SOP here, we are only able to select what's here under that SOP. We cannot select anything below. So that's also with this side. If I have this box, this is the only thing that I can select in viewport right now. Okay, you see I'm clicking here on this, but it doesn't select anything. So, which is actually great because maybe, just maybe we can do something like this now. And just add. Now, why you want more geometry is to actually avoid these kind of issues. So, because I have too little of geometry, I will have these kind of visual issues. But for blocking, it doesn't really matter. We can use a normal SOP to try and minimize that, but still in rendering is going to be an issue. But there are ways to actually fix this. Okay, cool. And because I'm annoyed, I will just do that quickly. So Alt-N, select everything, Alt-N. And this is already better, but we need a little bit less of a cusp angle. And now things are nice. Okay. Okay, what's the next thing I could do? Okay, let's do these like for the bolts. So now again, I can use construction plane. Maybe here. And then making sure that the creating context is enabled, which is Alt-3 with my shortcuts. And then let's make a tube. I wish somehow how would I say that the font size is somehow maybe adjusted to the viewport, because often these primitives are just too big, so we need to pretty much always make sure that we scale them down. But what's the biggest problem is they're huge, and then it's very hard to see the gizmos and all. So, but it's okay. It doesn't really matter that much. We cannot be spoiled. Okay, let's say something like this is acceptable. Let's end the caps. Now what I'm gonna do, I'll actually, before anything, I'll just duplicate. Okay. And then select both, and then Alt X to bring it on the other side. And then just select quickly everything. Actually, yeah, I can do this like that. And then again, I can select this, but I can actually reverse the selection or invert, which is Control I. And now I can, boom, do that. And instead of subtract, we can union. Now the cool thing is I can always come back to this first tube, like this one. This time I didn't use shortcut, I just clicked because it's, you know, faster. And here I can continue working on this. And as you can see, because of the copy or duplicate and symmetrize, everything will stay as, actually everything will update properly. And if you know what you're doing, you're gonna be able to, well, do something like this. Which is really, really, I don't know guys, but for me, this is really cool. Okay. Now, the funny thing is, well, it's not a funny thing, it's a cool thing. When we finish the boolean, either the union or subtract, Houdini will actually have a selection prepared for us. And you can see it here, my booleans are selected. And if we look in the viewport, we can see that the things are selected for us. So what we can do, if we go to the edge mode, we can actually press Alt and B and just quickly do the simple boolean on already selected. So we don't have to go and select. It's already selected for us. So that's another cool thing about Houdini's booleans. And it works pretty much with all primitives. Now I'm going to save this. Okay. So I'll say complex shape 2. Because if it crashes, then I can go back. Cool. So let's now reuse this, but we're gonna duplicate this. So again, Control D to duplicate this shape. Let's move it. Okay, what happened right now? Is it duplicated? It should be, yeah. Okay, that's weird because it should duplicate. Okay, let me save and then reset viewport because this HUD is unfortunately the issue. Okay. Okay, I hope this is now okay. So let's duplicate. This time, what is happening? Okay, maybe I need this. No. Okay, this is weird because I have no idea what's happening. This should not be the issue. Okay, I'm back. So again, another important thing that we need to think about when extracting certain geometry is that if we want to make sure that everything works fine, it's really safe. It's the safest thing is to freeze anything that we extract. Now we don't have to, because in that way, if you don't freeze the geometry, we can actually keep things procedural. Yes, we can do that, but that's another story. That's another tutorial. For now, we are freezing things. Now, if we duplicate, there we go. Now things are working. So in this case, let's just go inside, and this time let's just make this bigger, maybe something like this, just for fun. And again, let's boolean, but not intersect. So if we are booleaning from the object level, this is what we get. We are getting a different operation. So it's not subtracting, it's actually intersecting. I don't know, is this by design or a bug? And also we are getting this merge, odd merge that should not be there at all. But, you know, it's good to know. And again, I can actually select the last node here, double click, and then extract to get this object so that we have something with a hole. And maybe just maybe do something with this, something like that. So let's extrude inner like that. Maybe here I want to make, I don't know what I want to make, but I'm just trying to brainstorm and show you guys as much techniques that I have for this kind of tutorial. And it's hard really to talk and actually think, but hopefully you guys can follow. And it's really a good practice to start with, because I think it's really the easiest thing to do in Houdini regarding modeling, to actually start to understand how all this works. It's not that hard, seriously, because pretty much all SOPs or nodes are working in the same way. So again, we can symmetrize, and this is the cool thing, because we can ghost other things while we're working on this part. So this is one level of soloing geometry. There is another, but yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. So what I want to do, I want to show you one cool thing. So I can do that. Extrude inner. Let's extrude again. Something like this. Extrude again. And actually what I want to do, I want to use this. And do I need it? Let's see. Convert. Just move a little bit. And then somewhere like somewhere here. Let's cut or make a loop. Because actually what I want to do now, it's, let me show you, this thing here, okay? And it's there's actually cool technique for that I'm using. Because of the nature of Houdini, we can use a lot of references and just quickly delete what we don't need. So I'm doing that right now. So I'm gonna extrude inner, like that. Extrude. Cool. Now, let's see, maybe I wanna, where is my bevel? So I wanna make sure that this hole is not that big. So something like that. And then where is that poly split? This one. So let's use edge percentage and then just putting it here. Okay, cool. Let's go down. And now what I want to do, I will actually do this and then extrude, press F, bring it here. And now position this, and this is going to be my reference, okay, for what I'm doing with this other object, just because, you know, it's convenient and possible to do. Okay, now let's Shift V to jump to this, double click over that ghosted object to jump into that network. And now from here, let's say what do we have here? So let's invoke. I need this one. Okay. Actually, let's okay. Let's do it like that. Bring this like that, and then from here just extrude outside again. Maybe add a little bit bevel for more interesting shapes. That's it. And now let's go back and use this part and then extract and then freeze and then back and then just delete this part, and boom, voila. We actually have, well, another object. And I will just use subdivide and not that many divisions. One should be fine too. That's it, but let's make sure that subdivide doesn't have the numbers in the group section or group field. And that's it. Now what I can do here I can just Alt X to symmetrize. Go to this object, symmetrize, go to this object, symmetrize, and boom. Now we have, well, something like this. So maybe we can go here and make another interesting things. I don't know what. Something more complex, at least to be more visually complex. We can do the same here. Again, actually, let's go with this side. And maybe it's too much. A bit more. I don't like this. So let's see. Maybe let's just go with everything again and bring it inside a bit. We can also do bevel here. And maybe, what can we do? Now we can add loops here, okay. And I don't know, maybe do. Now it's really with Boolean and all of this, it's really, there is really a lot about experience maybe and figuring out how to create shapes. So playing with this is really a cool thing, because you never know with what you're gonna end up with. So I'm trying to be fast here. So as you can saw, my creating context was disabled. So I will need to enable it. Okay, and then box. Now we can actually, if we have case like this, we can always press spacebar F to just zoom on selected object. Now what I want to do is add some kind of buttons, like with my other model. So again, now there is a third thing that we can actually do. So we can have box somewhere else. Actually, you know what? I will just Control X, go back. I'll build another geometry container, which is going to be empty. Control V, okay. And now here, what we can also do, again, Boolean, double click on this ghosted object, which is this box, and then use that. And now, again, I can just quickly go here like that. I mean, you can see there is a lot of ways to approach this, and for me, this is epic. I don't think any DCC has this kind of workflow that can be utilized. Let's be honest. I mean, if we are talking about vanilla stuff, I don't think any of the other DCCs has this kind of workflow. But I might be wrong. So, yeah. Okay. Let's go here. Again, you saw that this was selected for me. So very cool. Now again here, let's move construction plane onto this. Okay. So sometimes we get results like this. So what we can actually do, we can actually manipulate like that. And with shortcuts like Shift, we can go up and down. We don't have to grab these. And with Control, we can actually go, well, I guess front, back, left and right without grabbing any of these. Or we can try using just, you see this thing here. But sometimes when there is an angle, the position will not be good. So I'll just use it like this. So yeah. So again, enable creating context. Let's add a tube. Spacebar F. Make it smaller. Something like that. Again, spacebar F. We can now remove construction plane. For me, which is Shift Control Tab. Okay, Okay. So this is going to be, I guess, a button. A big button in this case. Now, if you want to position it in the center, if you want to make sure that it's in the center, what we can actually do, we can try adding just quickly a loop, just somewhere, doesn't matter where, because we can actually delete it later. Just so that we have something to, snap to, and we can grab and then boom, voila, now we know this is perfect. Now we can actually delete, go back to this, and let's select, oops, that. Boom. So first we're gonna create holes, but actually I want to make sure. Now the cool thing is, so if I am symmetrizing, and because by default I set up that this symmetrizes from this side, okay, we can actually use a align handle. Is this here? Okay, it doesn't say it here, but with Shift R, which is again custom shortcut that I set, we can actually reverse directions. You can see it here. So again, convenient. Not only that, with Shift X, we can position at X. With Shift Y, we can position it at Y direction, and then Shift Z, we can position it on the Z axis. But we need X axis and then reversed. Again, super convenient. But actually, you know what? Yeah, let's leave it like that. I'll just copy it and use my middle mouse button to move it here, and we can call this done. Now I can again, because this copy is selected, make sure that creating context is disabled, Control E, and now I can actually reuse these. Let's freeze. E for scale, but instead of scaling like this, we can right click, make sure that local origin by connectivity is selected, and then just quickly scale it like that, and then maybe bevel. And now we have buttons. The more geometry you have, the better it's gonna look at rendering. Okay, so let's go there. Again, booleans selected our edges. And then now we can actually do something like that. And boom, now we have buttons. I actually like how this is shaping. Let's do a few more things. We are already 38 minutes in. So yeah, let's try some more things. I really hope, guys, you learned something here. So what is happening now? Okay, I have some issues. So okay, I see what happened. So you see, you will have to be very careful. So now either I can go back and try to fix things, which I have no idea where this is. Let's see, somewhere where tube is. Is it here? Yeah, it's there. So what I can try, and let's try, okay, this is not going to work, unfortunately. Okay. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to either leave it like that, or we just need to fix one side. So I can just grow selection. Let's see how this goes. I can just delete. Okay. And then just delete this point and just close here, single polygon. And now I can actually symmetrize, and let's use labs dissolve flat edges. Let's make sure that removing line is not selected, even though let's try it like that. So this can break other things, but it will fix another things. So, yeah, it's really up to you guys how you want to handle this. I think this is just fine. There are ways to fix things. I think this is totally fine. So what I can do again, well, I can now, actually this is cool that it happened, because now I can actually select these two, okay, and then extract. Well, okay, I'll just select this one and then extract. And now make sure that I freeze this. Let's just move it somewhere here. And then symmetrize. Okay. And maybe I can actually move it somewhere here like that. Okay, cool. It doesn't have to be the same maybe. And now, you can guess what I will do. But union. Ta-da! And now let's go here. And in this case, let's see. Yeah, we have to select if I want to do and add some boolean here. Yeah, boom. So you see, there is always something we can do to, well, fix things. Here, maybe I can do inset and do a little bit of extruding again. Here, maybe I can do something like this. And instead of extruding, just doing something like that. Now again, things are a bit broken. Shading, so again, boom, voila. Let's go back, and now we have this. So we are already 40 minutes in, a little bit more. I'm not sure what else I can add. So that it makes sense maybe, I don't know. But let's try. Okay. If I want to do this, can maybe inside do something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Because maybe I want to do like beveling here. Just to get this kind of shape. Because why not? And then the same on this side. Maybe a bit smaller. Now we have this shading issue, but normal will fix. So I can actually put normal here and it will fix the issue. Now again, this is for blocking purposes. So maybe, just maybe, actually I can do that. Select this and now just move this thing here. Maybe closer to here. And again, I can just symmetrize to fix the other side. And now this looks a bit more complex. So, yeah, guys, I think this is enough. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you can see how this technique actually can do a lot. It's only the matter of understanding how this works, like the workflow, and then being able to create different shapes, okay, from which you're gonna subtract, or the shapes that you're going to use for subtraction, or you know, there is also unionizing, and then there is also shattering, which is another nice thing. So maybe I can actually just do shattering as a last thing, because I don't want to go through this tutorial that's hour long or more. So let's just do shattering, and in this case I will just save, and then from the top I will use curve polygon. Okay, and maybe I can just bring my grid and then just snap to grid and use something like that. Okay, let's see now. So here I can actually, whoops. So now I will use this polygon and then just invoke labs thicken like this. Now normal direction really matters. Not sure for the shattering, but usually it matters. So let's do next. So again, Control S. Let's double click on this. Now for that, we need to make sure that double click to jump to other object is enabled, which for me is Shift V with my environment. So that's why I can do this. And now we selected that, accept, and then just make sure we have shatter. And what shatter is doing is actually making two different objects from one piece. Well, yeah, I would say that. But now let's go to thicken and let's do something more interesting. So I'm gonna bevel this and do it maybe like that. Boom. And now maybe we can bevel this part just to see that there is something different. Yeah, or different object. Now we can just extract this, freeze, come back, and then delete this. Whoops, come back. So, okay, I need to turn off this this feature so that when because it's overlapping, so it's jumping. So now I can delete and now go back, and now we have two different objects. Let's go back and use again normal. Now shading is not perfect, but this is something you should be aware of when you're doing your work. It's annoying, but yeah, it's fixable, but in this tutorial we're not gonna care much. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I wouldn't then do that here, or I would need to have much more geometry here to make sure that this is not happening. But guys, all in all, I really hope that you have learned something from this tutorial. Booleans are, in my opinion, really cool in Houdini. We can do a lot complex shapes. It's really up to your knowledge and what you can do and how you can create these shapes. So yeah, hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you learn something. If you like it, well, like the video, subscribe, you know how the drill goes. And yeah, give me some ideas what you guys want to see next. And see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.